Hey guys, tonight we slip into the scorching sands of ancient Egypt, where the sun doesn't just shine, it rules. Picture yourself sprawled on a reed mat, the Nile glinting nearby, while golden rays bake your skin like a divine oven. Pharaohs, those god kings, didn't just love this heat. They practically worshipped it, napping under its glow like it was their job. But why? Spoiler, you probably won't survive this story without craving a sunny siesta yourself. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I'm curious where you're drifting off tonight. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're standing in the heart of ancient Egypt, around 2500 BCE, where the sun isn't just a star, it's the ultimate VIP. Pharaohs, draped in linen, so fine it's basically Egyptian silk, chase its warmth like modern folks chase Wi-Fi signals. Why the obsession? It starts with power. The sun, blazing and untouchable, mirrors the pharaoh's own vibe. Eternal, divine, a bit extra. Napping in its light isn't just a luxury, it's a flex, a way to say, I'm so holy, I can snooze where mortals sweat. Historical records, like inscriptions from the Old Kingdom, show pharaohs scheduling sun audiences, daytime rests in open courtyards where they'd bask, half asleep, while scribes fanned them with ostrich feathers. No AC, no problem. They had status to keep them cool. But there's a quirky twist. Some Egyptologists point to peculiar medical texts, like the Ebers Papyrus, suggesting sunlight was a cure-all. Got a headache? Sun nap. Bad vibes? Sun nap. They even smeared crocodile dung ointments. Yep, actual poop to enhance the sun's effects. Gross? Sure. But to them, it was cutting-edge spa tech. Historians still argue whether these treatments worked or just made pharaohs smell like the Nile's worst day. The debate rages on, but one thing's clear. Sunlight was their version of a power smoothie. You squint as the sun climbs higher, its heat pressing your shoulders like a heavy cloak. For pharaohs, this isn't just a nap spot, it's a stage. Every snooze is a performance of divinity, a nod to their role as earthly gods. Commoners, meanwhile, toil in the same heat, building pyramids while their king dozes in glory. A bit unfair, right? Like your boss napping while you're stuck in a Zoom meeting. The pharaoh's sun-soaked slumber is a ritual, a way to align with the cosmos. They believe the sun sees them, judges them, maybe even high-fives their soul while they dream. And dreams? Oh, they're not just random. Priests whisper that sun naps spark visions, prophecies, even. One pharaoh, Khufu, reportedly dreamt of a bountiful harvest during a courtyard siesta, and boom, the Nile flooded just right that year. Coincidence? Maybe, but try telling that to a priest hyping the sun's VIP list. As you lie back, imagining yourself as a royal for a hot second, the warmth feels nice, seductive almost. You get why a pharaoh might pick this over a shady palace. It's not just comfort, it's connection to the sky, to eternity, to something bigger than even their massive egos. But this is just the start. The sun's got more secrets, and the pharaohs, they're all in, ready to dig deeper. Let's keep drifting through the sands. You're still sprawled under that relentless Egyptian sun, the heat sinking into your bones like a cosmic hug. The pharaohs didn't just nap here for kicks. They're chasing something bigger. Ra, the sun god, the ultimate rock star of their pantheon. His golden rays aren't just light. They're divine Wi-Fi, connecting the pharaoh to eternity. You can almost feel his gaze, like a celestial spotlight, as you lie there, pretending you're royalty. This is where the sun-soaked slumber gets spiritual, and trust me, it's wilder than a reality show plot twist. Ra's the key to this whole sun nap obsession. He's not some distant deity. He's the pharaoh's cosmic BFF. Ancient texts, like the pyramid texts from the 24th century BCE, describe Ra sailing across the sky in his solar boat, battling chaos to bring order. Pharaohs believe napping in his light syncs them with this journey, like plugging into a divine charger. It's not just rest, it's a sacred flex, a way to borrow Ra's glow and remind everyone who's boss. You can picture a pharaoh, let's say Sneferu, dozing in a courtyard, his gold jewelry glinting, while his court whispers, yeah, he's basically Ra's intern. That's the vibe. Now, here's the quirky bit. Some fringe scholars point to odd rituals where priests would sprinkle Nile water on sleeping pharaohs, claiming it activated Ra's blessings. Sounds like a scam to sell holy H2O, right? But to them, it's legit. Water plus sunlight equals divine mojo. Historians still argue whether this was widespread or just a quirky one-off, with some saying it's exaggerated by later Greek writers like Herodotus, who loved a good tall tale. Either way, you're chuckling, imagining a priest sneaking up with a bucket while the pharaoh snores. You shift on your imaginary reed mat, the sun's warmth now a familiar friend. Every pharaoh's nap is a nod to Ra's power, a way to say, I'm not just king, I'm cosmic royalty. But it's not all lofty theology. There's practical swagger here too. A sun nap shows the court you're untouchable. While others sweat, you're chilling in Ra's embrace. It's like posting a beach selfie in January. Pure flex. And the dreams, they're not just naps. Priests claim Ra whispers secrets during these siestas, battle plans, harvest tips, maybe even gossip about rival kings. One story, etched in a Theban temple, says Pharaoh Thutmose IV dreamt of Ra, promising victory over Nubia during a sun nap. Spoiler, he won. Coincidence or divine DM? You decide. As you lie there, the Nile's soft ripples in the distance, you feel the weight of Ra's mythology. This isn't just a nap, it's a ritual, a power move, a hotline to the heavens. The pharaohs are all in, and you're starting to get why. The sun's not just a star, it's their everything. But Ra's not the only player in this game. The temples, those massive stone sun traps, are where the magic really happens. Ready to step inside? You rise from your sun-warmed mat, dusting off imaginary sand, and step into the towering shadow of a temple, its limestone walls glowing like they're in on the sun's secrets. These aren't just buildings, they're solar stages where pharaohs nap in style, soaking up Ra's rays like cosmic celebrities. The architecture here is no accident. Every angle, every open court is designed to trap sunlight and turn a siesta into a divine event. You're about to see why these stone giants are the ultimate nap spots. Temples like Karnak or Abu Simbel, built with precision around 1500 BCE, are engineering flexes that scream, "We own the sun." Historical records show their courtyards were aligned to catch maximum daylight, with hypostyle halls, those forests of massive columns, channeling beams onto royal resting spots. You wander through one now, the air thick with incense. As sunlight pools around a raised platform where the pharaoh dozes. It's like a natural spotlight, making him look half god, half lazy cat. The design ensures Ra's light hits just right. A cosmic pat on the back for the king. No wonder they loved it. Imagine napping where the universe itself seems to say, "You're the main character." Here's the quirky twist. Some Egyptologists whisper about solar mirrors, polished copper discs supposedly used to bounce extra sunlight onto the pharaoh's face. Sounds like a proto-tanning salon, right? Evidence is thin, mostly from tomb reliefs showing shiny objects, but it's fun to imagine priests angling mirrors while muttering, "Hold still, Your Majesty." Historians still argue whether these were real or just artistic flair, with skeptics saying it's impractical in the desert glare. Still, the idea's too wild not to love. You pause, feeling the stone floor's warmth under your feet. the sun's rays slanting through a clerestory window. These temples aren't random. They're solar clocks tracking Ra's journey. Pharaohs nap here, not just for comfort, but to sync with that rhythm. Their sleep a performance for priests and nobles watching from the shadows. It's a power move. While you're dodging scorpions in the fields, the king's catching Z's in a sunbeam, untouchable. And the vibes? Pure magic. Reliefs on temple walls show pharaohs dreaming of Ra's boat, their naps framed as holy downloads. One tale claims Amenhotep III saw a vision of a new temple during a Karnak siesta, then built it. Talk about a productive nap. As you lean against a column, the sun's heat lingering like a memory of that crocodile dung sunscreen. You get it. These temples are more than stone. They're Ra's living rooms, and the pharaohs the VIP guest. Every nap here is a statement. I'm divine, I'm chosen, I'm napping where the gods hang out. But there's more to this solar obsession. Beyond architecture, the pharaohs believe sunlight does something to their bodies, something weirdly medical. Ready to play ancient doctor? You're still in the temple's glow. The sun's rays, now feeling like a warm hand on your shoulder, urging you to lie down and soak it in. But this isn't just about vibes. Pharaohs believe sunlight is a legit health hack, a divine elixir for their royal bodies. You're about to dive into their bizarre medical world, where napping in the sun is less about relaxation and more about chasing immortality, one sweaty siesta at a time. Grab your imaginary papyrus prescription pad. Things are getting weird. Ancient Egyptian medicine, as seen in texts like the Ebers Papyrus from 1550 BCE, treats sunlight like a cure-all. Pharaohs nap in open courtyards because they think Ra's rays zap ailments, everything from joint pain to low energy. It's not far off from modern light therapy, except they're doing it with linen kilts and zero SPF. Doctors, well, priest-physicians, prescribe sun exposure like it's ibuprofen, claiming it renews the Ka, their term for life force. You can picture a pharaoh like Ramses II, lounging in a Theban courtyard, half asleep while his doc nods approvingly, muttering, "More sun, less stress." It's their version of a wellness retreat, minus the overpriced smoothies. Now, the quirky bit. Some treatments involve slathering on pastes. Think honey, natron, and yes, that crocodile dung sunscreen we mentioned. Fringe texts suggest these concoctions trap sunlight's power, like smearing on a magic battery. Sounds like a skincare nightmare, right? Imagine the smell. Historians still argue whether this was mainstream or a wacky outlier, with some saying it was less about science and more about ritual flexing. Did it work? Probably not, but the placebo effect in a sun-worshipping culture must have been wild. You settle onto a stone bench, the sun's heat seeping through your imaginary linen, and it's easy to see why they bought into this. The warmth feels good, like it's melting your worries. Pharaohs, being semi-divine, take it further. They think sunlight literally strengthens their god-king mojo. A Middle Kingdom stele brags that Pharaoh Senusret III's sun naps kept him vigorous as Ra, letting him rule for decades. Coincidence or solar superpower? You're smirking, but they're dead serious. These naps are strategic, scheduled after battles or long ceremonies to recharge the royal battery. And the priests, they're hyping it, claiming Ra's light purges shadows from the soul. Shadows, in this case, mean anything from guilt to a bad cold. As you stretch, the Nile's breeze cutting through the heat, you can't help but admire their hustle. Sunlight's free, universal, and tied to their top god. Talk about a branding win. But it's not just physical health. These naps are mental, spiritual, a way to align with the cosmos while catching a quick 40 winks. You're starting to get why every pharaoh's obsessed. Up next, though, it's time to peek at the rituals that make these sun naps a full-on spectacle. Ready for some royal pomp? You're lounging in the temple's sunlit courtyard, the air humming with anticipation as priests shuffle around, prepping for something big. This isn't just a nap anymore. It's a full-blown ritual, a solar spectacle where the pharaoh's snooze becomes a cosmic event. You're about to witness the ceremonies that turn sun-soaked slumber into a divine performance, complete with chants, offerings, and enough incense to make your eyes water. Buckle up. It's like a royal rock concert, but with more linen and fewer groupies. Historical records from the New Kingdom, around 1300 BCE, describe solar repose ceremonies, where pharaohs nap as part of sun-worshipping rituals. Think of it as a public power nap, staged in temple courtyards, with Ra as the guest of honor. You see priests circling the pharaoh, maybe Akhenaten, Mr. Sun obsessed himself, chanting hymns from the Book of the Dead to awaken Ra's light within. They sprinkle natron, that salty purifier, and burn myrrh, the smoke curling like a celestial Instagram filter. The pharaoh, half dozing on a gilded couch, isn't just resting. He's communing with Ra, his nap a bridge between mortal and divine. It's peak theater in your front row. Here's the quirky twist. Some fringe reliefs show priests waving palm fronds to stir sunlight, believing it amplifies Ra's blessings. Picture them fanning away like overzealous interns, hoping to turbocharge the pharaoh's dreams. Historians still argue whether this was symbolic or a legit attempt to manipulate light, with skeptics calling it priestly showboating. Either way, you're giggling, imagining a priest tripping over his robe mid-fan. Did it make the nap holier? Probably not, but it sure looked cool. You lean back, the sun's warmth now a familiar friend, as the ceremony unfolds. The pharaoh's nap is the main event, but it's wrapped in layers of ritual. Offerings of bread, beer, and lotus flowers piled at a solar altar. These aren't random, they're bribes to Ra, ensuring he keeps the Nile flooding and the enemies fleeing. A stele from Luxor claims Pharaoh Setiwe's sun nap rituals secured a bumper harvest. Coincidence? Maybe, but the priests are selling it like it's divine cause and effect. The crowd, nobles, not commoners, watches in awe, whispering about the pharaoh's glowing skin. Proof he's Ra's favorite. It's like a modern influencer flex, except instead of a ring light, they've got the actual sun. As the chants fade, you notice the pharaoh stir, his nap done, but the ritual's glow lingering. This isn't just about health or power anymore. It's spiritual showtime, a way to cement the pharaoh's role as Ra's earthly stunt double. You're starting to see why these ceremonies matter. Every snore is a sermon, every ray a divine high five. But what about the afterlife? Those sun naps aren't just for the living, ready to explore how they tie to mummies and eternity. You're still basking in the temple's glow, the echo of chants fading as you wander deeper into the pharaoh's world, where sun naps aren't just for the living, they're a ticket to eternity. Picture yourself slipping into a tomb's cool shadows, the walls painted with solar boats and starry skies. Pharaohs believe their sun-soaked slumbers prep them for the afterlife, where Ra's light will guide their souls. You're about to unravel how these naps shape their dreams of immortality, and it's wilder than a sci-fi plot twist. The Egyptians, as seen in the Amduat texts from 1400 BCE, are obsessed with the afterlife, and sunlight's their GPS. Pharaohs nap in Ra's rays to train their Ka, think soul with extra spark, for the underworld journey. They believe each sun nap imprints Ra's power, like downloading a divine app for eternal navigation. You imagine a pharaoh like Tutankhamun dozing in a Memphis courtyard, his priests muttering that every ray strengthens his mummy-to-be. It's not just rest, it's cosmic cardio, prepping him to sail with Ra's solar boat forever. Historical tomb inscriptions back this up, showing pharaohs offering their naps to Ra for afterlife VIP status. Now, the quirky bit. Some fringe tomb art shows solar amulets tucked under napping pharaohs, supposedly to store sunlight for the tomb. Think glow-in-the-dark talismans, but for mummies. Sounds like a pyramid scheme, right? Historians still argue whether these were common or just elite bling, with some saying it's symbolic, not literal. Either way, you're chuckling picturing a priest slipping a shiny rock under a snoring king, whispering, "This'll get you through the underworld, boss." You pause, the sun's warmth a distant memory as you trace a tomb wall's carvings. These naps are more than ritual. They're a bridge to eternity. Pharaohs believe Ra sees their sunlit dreams, judging their worth for the field of reeds, their version of paradise. A Theban relief claims Pharaoh Merneptah's son nap sparked visions of Ra welcoming him post-death. Coincidence or divine FaceTime? You're skeptical, but the Egyptians eat it up. Every nap is a deposit in their afterlife bank, ensuring they'll shine as bright as Ra when the mummy wrappings come off. As you linger, the air heavy with Myr's ghost, you get why sun naps matter. They're not just about health or flexing power. They're about cheating death. Pharaohs nap in the sun to become the sun, eternal and unstoppable. But who's pulling the strings here? The priests, those sneaky solar influencers, have a lot to say about it, ready to meet the masterminds behind the sun sleep hype. You step back into the sunlit courtyard, the temple stones warm underfoot. But now, your eyes are on the priests, those robed masterminds orchestrating the pharaoh's sun nap obsession. They're not just spiritual sidekicks. They're the PR team for Ra, spinning every royal snooze into a divine blockbuster. You're about to uncover how these solar schemers shape the sun sleep craze, pulling strings like ancient influencers with a knack for cosmic hype. It's less about faith and more about control, and you're here for the drama. Priests of Amun, especially during the New Kingdom around 1200 BCE, hold serious sway, and historical records, like temple inscriptions, show them choreographing sun nap rituals to boost the pharaoh's divine cred. They're the ones scheduling these courtyard siestas, claiming Ra demands them to keep Egypt thriving. You see them now, circling a dozing pharaoh, say Ramses III, with censers of frankincense, chanting about Ra's approval. It's a power play. The priests amplify the pharaoh's god-king status, but in return, he's their puppet, napping on cue. It's like a CEO taking a staged meditation break for the company newsletter, except with more gold and fewer hashtags. Here's the quirky twist. Some fringe texts hint at priests using solar oracles, basically interpreting the pharaoh's nap time twitches as Ra's messages. A royal snore means prosperity. A frown means trouble. Sounds like reading tea leaves, but with higher stakes, right? Historians still argue whether this was legit divination or just priests flexing creative control, with skeptics saying it's a scam to justify their influence. You're smirking, imagining a priest nudging a sleeping king to twitch right for a good omen. You lean against a pillar, the sun's heat a familiar buzz, as the priest's game comes into focus. They're not just hyping Ra, they're cementing their own power. By tying the pharaoh's naps to Egypt's fate, floods, harvests, wars, they make themselves indispensable. A Karnak inscription brags that priests' sun rituals saved a drought-stricken Nile under Thutmose III. Divine intervention or clever timing. You're betting on the latter, but the masses buy it. The priests also control the narrative, spreading tales of pharaohs, dreaming Ra's battle plans during naps, keeping the court in awe and the pharaoh in line. As you watch the incense swirl, you get it. These priests are the real MVPs, turning a nap into a political weapon. The pharaoh's sun sleep is their script, and they're directing every ray. But what about the regular folks? How do they fit into this solar circus? Time to leave the temple and see how commoners stack up against their napping kings. You slip out of the temple's golden glow, leaving the priests' incense trails behind, and step into the dusty bustle of an Egyptian village. The sun still blazes, but now you're among commoners, farmers, weavers, kids dodging goats, who live under the same rays as their napping pharaoh. Do they chase sun-soaked siestas too? Or is this solar obsession a royal exclusive? You're about to compare their world to the king's, and spoiler, it's less divine nap and more survive the heat. Let's dive into the gritty side of Egypt's sun game. Historical evidence, like Deir el-Medina worker records from 1300 BCE, shows commoners worshipped Ra, but didn't have time for his VIP nap club. While pharaohs doze in courtyards, you see villagers toiling, plowing fields, hauling Nile mud, baking under the same sun. They revere Ra, sure, but their sun time is practical, drying laundry, curing bricks, or catching a quick breather in a palm shade. No gilded couches here. A reed mat's their luxury. You're trudging alongside a farmer now, his skin leathered from years of solar labor, and it's clear the sun's a boss, not a buddy. Unlike the pharaoh's cosmic flex, their sun exposure is survival, not spirituality. Here's the quirky bit. Some fringe ostraca, pottery scribbles, suggest villagers mimicked royal sun naps during festivals, lying out to borrow Ra's strength. Picture a Nileside siesta party, everyone pretending they're royalty for a day. Historians still argue whether this was widespread or just a rare treat, with some saying it's less devotion and more free day off vibes. You're chuckling, imagining a weaver napping dramatically, muttering, "I'm basically Ramses." Did it feel divine? Maybe, but hunger probably woke them up fast. You pause by a mud brick hut, the sun's heat pressing like a heavy hand. Commoners do pray to Ra, leaving small offerings, bread, onions, at solar shrines, hoping for his mercy. But their dreams aren't of afterlife boats. They're of full bellies and healthy kids. A worker's graffito from a Theban tomb gripes about Ra's fire burning crops, showing not everyone's a fan. Meanwhile, the pharaoh's napping in Ra's embrace, his priests spinning it as Egypt's salvation. It's a stark gap. Royals bask in divine rays. Villagers just try not to bake. You're feeling the unfairness, like being stuck in coach while the pharaoh's in first class. As you kick a pebble, the Nile glinting nearby, you see the divide clearly. Sun naps are a royal privilege, a stage connection to Ra, while commoners get the sun's raw deal. But this solar story's shifting. The pharaoh's sun sleep craze won't last forever. Ready to explore why it fades? You're back under the relentless Egyptian sun. But now there's a shift in the air. Like the Nile's breeze carries whispers of change. The pharaoh's sun nap obsession, once as eternal as Ra himself, is starting to wane. You're about to trace why this solar slumber fades, as new gods, foreign rulers, and shifting beliefs dim the rays of royal siestas. It's like watching a blockbuster franchise lose its spark. Still iconic, but not quite the same. Let's wander through the twilight of this sun-soaked tradition. By the late period, around 600 BCE, Egypt's facing upheaval. Foreign invasions, like the Persians, and internal power struggles weaken the pharaoh's divine clout. Historical records, such as Herodotus's accounts, show sun-worshipping rituals, including royal naps, losing their grip. You see a pharaoh, maybe Psamtik III, still napping in a Memphis courtyard, but the vibe's off. Priests push the Ra narrative, but rival cults, like those of Osiris or Amun, steal the spotlight. The sun's still holy, but it's not the only game in town. Newer pharaohs, under foreign influence, lean into shadier palaces, trading open-air siestas for cushy thrones. It's like swapping a beach vacation for a Netflix binge. Comfort wins. Here's the quirky bit. Some fringe graffiti from Saqqara hints at mock sun naps, where later pharaohs fake the ritual to appease traditionalists, dozing under canopies instead of raw sunlight. Picture a king pretending to bask while servants hold up a linen shade, like a diva dodging UV rays. Historians still argue whether this was widespread or just a few posers, with some saying it's a sign of Ra's fading pull. You're snickering, imagining a pharaoh winking at his court, muttering, "Close enough, right?" You linger by a crumbling obelisk, the sun's heat less commanding now. The rise of Ptolemaic rule after 300 BCE, with Greek pharaohs like Cleopatra, seals the deal. They're more into Hellenistic vibes. Think marble halls, not sun-baked courtyards. A Ptolemaic inscription praises indoor repose for health, a far cry from Ra's open-air glory. The old solar naps, once Egypt's spiritual flex, become nostalgic relics, like flip phones in a smartphone world. Commoners, too, move on, their own sun exposure tied to work, not worship. The priests of Ra try to keep the hype alive, but even they're hedging bets, blending rituals with new gods. As you kick up sand, the Nile's flow steady, but the sun's mystique fading. You feel the era slipping. The pharaohs' sun naps, once a cosmic power move, are now just stories carved in stone. But their legacy lingers, echoing in Egypt's sands. Ready to see how this solar love story lives on? You stand on the Nile's banks, the sun dipping low, casting a golden haze over the sands, where pharaohs once napped in Ra's embrace. Their sun-soaked slumbers are long gone, but their echo lingers, woven into Egypt's soul like a half-remembered dream. You're about to reflect on how this solar obsession still ripples through modern Egypt, from dusty ruins to bustling markets. It's not just history, it's a vibe, a whisper of eternity under the same blazing star. Let's chase its final rays. Historical records, like 19th century archaeological notes from Flinders Petrie, show Egypt's sun worship left marks beyond the pharaohs. You wander past a Luxor temple, its stones still warm, where tourists snap selfies in the same courtyards where kings once dozed. Modern Egyptians don't nap for Ra, but the sun's still king, powering crops, drawing crowds to solar festivals like Sham el-Nassim, a spring holiday with ancient roots. It's not divine anymore, but it's cultural DNA, tying today's Egypt to those linen-clad siestas. You're smiling, picturing a Cairo vendor hawking sunglasses near a 3,000-year-old obelisk, the sun's legacy now a tourist trap. Here's the quirky bit. Some fringe folklore claims rural healers near Aswan still prescribe sunbaths for ailments, echoing the pharaohs' old health hacks. Think less crocodile dung sunscreen, more lie in the light for luck. Historians still argue whether this is a direct link or just coincidence, with skeptics saying it's universal, not uniquely Egyptian. You're chuckling, imagining a grandma insisting a sunny nap cures a cold, sounding suspiciously like an ancient priest. You pause, the Nile's ripples catching the fading light, and feel the thread connecting past to present. The pharaoh's sun naps, once a divine flex, now live in Egypt's art, its stories, its very air. A Coptic hymn you overhear blends solar imagery with Christian praise, Ra's ghost hiding in plain sight. The obsession's faded, but its warmth endures, like a memory of that temple courtyard where you first sprawled, pretending to be royal. Egypt's sun still rules, even if the naps are history. As the horizon swallows the sun, you let the day's heat slip away, your mind drifting like a reed on the Nile. The pharaoh's solar dreams, their rituals, their temples, they're all part of this land's heartbeat, pulsing softly under modern noise. You're ready to rest now, the story settling like dust after a long day. The world softens now, the Nile's gentle lap fading into a distant hum, like a fan spinning in a quiet room. You're no longer in Egypt's sands. You're sinking into your own space, the day's weight lifting as your breath slows. The pharaoh's sun, so fierce and golden, dims to a warm glow in your mind, a lantern guiding you toward sleep. Let the temples crumble, the priest's chants dissolve. All that remains is this calm, this stillness, wrapping you like linen. You're safe here, drifting on a river of dreams where time doesn't chase you. The sun will rise again, but for now, it's just you, the dark, and a whisper of eternity. Close your eyes, let the warmth linger, and slip into the night's embrace.